Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to explore some of the most valuable and collectible coins in the United States, featuring the top 4 Kennedy half dollar and Washington quarter dollar coins that have captured the attention of collectors all around the world. United States. We'll be taking a closer look at their current market value, rare minting errors, and special conditions, including the highly sought-after silver versions and the unique color shades that make these coins stand out in the world of numismatics. These rare treasures are not just pieces of American history, but also valuable assets that collectors and investors are actively hunting for today. From brilliant silver strikes to fascinating error coins, each one tells a story of craftsmanship and legacy. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, this video is definitely for you. Moneybag, let's get started with our first rare coin on the list. The 1978 Kennedy half dollar is far more than a piece of metal. It's a living symbol of America's resilience, leadership, and vision, a coin that continues to capture hearts and imaginations nearly half a century after its creation. At first glance, it may appear to be an ordinary 50-cent piece, but those who know its story understand that the 1978 issue holds an energy all its own. Struck in a time when America was recovering from economic turbulence and social transformation, this coin carries within it the memory of a generation that believed in courage, unity, and hope. And among these, a small number of 1978 Kennedy half dollars with silver composition or striking anomalies have become legends, coins so rare and mysterious that they have turned collectors into millionaires and transformed everyday discoveries into moments of destiny. The origins of the Kennedy half dollar trace back to the tragic events of November 1963, when the United States lost its beloved President John F. Kennedy to an assassin's bullet. Within months, in 1964, the U.S. Mint released the first Kennedy half dollars, struck in 90% silver, as a tribute to a man whose charisma and leadership inspired a nation. Americans hoarded those early coins immediately, not for their silver content, but because they represented mourning, pride, and remembrance. Over the years, as silver was phased out and replaced with copper-nickel, the Kennedy half dollar evolved from a memorial into a collector's symbol, a piece of American soul preserved in metal. By the time the 1978 issue came into circulation, the coin had become a quiet yet powerful reminder of Kennedy's enduring legacy. Though officially made of copper-nickel clad composition, tales of 1978 silver-struck Kennedy half dollars have circulated in numismatic circles for decades. Some believe they were experimental pieces, struck on leftover silver planchets or through rare minting errors. Others insist that their brilliant luster and distinct ring are unlike anything copper-nickel could produce. Whatever the truth, these rare coins have achieved mythical status, pieces of history so valuable that they fetched extraordinary sums when verified. A genuine 1978 half dollar with a silver core could, in theory, be worth a fortune, a lost treasure of American minting that embodies both mystery and magic. But even without silver, the 1978 Kennedy half dollar carries immense significance. It was struck in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S in proof, at a time when the American Mint was balancing production with artistry. The Philadelphia no mint mark coins are particularly fascinating, as they often show stronger details of Kennedy's face, his determined gaze, his confident jawline, and the fine lines that suggest both youth and responsibility. Each strike is a small monument, a frozen moment in the nation's collective memory of leadership, vision, and loss. The artistry of the design, created by sculptor Gilroy Roberts and engraver Frank Gasparo, remains one of the most elegant ever to grace American coinage. The obverse, featuring Kennedy's profile, captures not merely his likeness but his aura, the idealism of the 1960s, and the forward-looking spirit of an age that dared to dream. The reverse shows the presidential seal, a bold eagle clutching olive branches and arrows, surrounded by 50 stars. In that single image lies the balance of peace and strength, the very duality that defined Kennedy's presidency. The design's enduring appeal ensures that the coin, even decades later, is not merely currency, but a symbol of American greatness. By 1978, America itself was standing at a crossroads. The Vietnam War had ended. The Watergate scandal was behind the nation, and the economy was cautiously recovering. Amidst all this, The Kennedy half-dollar continued to circulate as a quiet reminder of nobility and leadership. It represented more than money. It represented what America aspired to be again. Every time someone held it, they were reminded of the hope that Kennedy's words once inspired. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. The 1978 coin carried that message in silence, circulating to the hands of dreamers, workers, and patriots. Yet, the true allure of the 1978 Kennedy half-dollar lies in its hidden rarity. Though millions were minted, only a few have survived in pristine, untouched condition, their surfaces still glowing with original mint luster. Some collectors have stumbled upon extraordinary versions that shine brighter, weigh slightly different, or even produce that distinct silver ring when dropped. Such coins, if authenticated, have been known to reach values that defy expectation. In a market that thrives on mystery, the possibility that a 1978 silver half-dollar could exist keeps treasure hunters, historians, and dreamers searching tirelessly. The silver-like 1978 Kennedy half-dollars are often surrounded by stories of luck and fate. There are tales of collectors who found them accidentally, in old family chain jars, antique store collections, or forgotten safes, only to discover later that they were holding a small fortune. For these individuals, the coin became a symbol of destiny, a moment where history reached out and changed their lives overnight. The idea that a single coin, overlooked for decades, could suddenly unlock wealth and wonder is a heartbeat of numismatics. The art of seeing greatness in the ordinary. But beyond wealth, this coin holds emotional power. The Kennedy half-dollar is not just about precious metal. It's about legacy. It links generations, those who remember Kennedy's voice and those who only know his image through history books. In a world that changes rapidly, the 1978 coin stands as a bridge between past and future. It whispers of courage, sacrifice, and vision, qualities that, like silver, never tarnish. To hold one is to feel a tangible connection to the ideals that built America's spirit. For collectors, the 1978 Kennedy half-dollar with silver traits represents a dream, the possibility that hidden within the ordinary lies something extraordinary. It proves that value is not always visible at first glance. Sometimes it hides beneath the surface, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. Whether in its metallic sheen or historical significance, this coin carries a silent promise. The promise of transformation, of fortune, and of remembrance. So, if one day you come across a 1978 Kennedy half-dollar, especially one that gleams with an unusual brightness or produces that unmistakable silver tone, treat it with reverence. Don't spend it. Don't overlook it. Because within its curved edges might lie not just copper and nickel, but destiny itself. This is not just a 50-cent coin. It is a fragment of America's heart, a relic of leadership, and for the lucky few, a key to unimaginable fortune. The Kennedy half-dollar of 1978 remains a coin that transcends time, a reminder that greatness, whether in people or in metal, can never be truly lost. It teaches us that history lives on not only in books, but in the objects we touch, the symbols we treasure, and the legacy we choose to remember. For those who believe in miracles, the 1978 Kennedy half-dollar is proof that even the smallest piece of change can hold the power to change everything, even your life, overnight. Next up, the 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar is one of those rare coins that proves how beauty, history, and mystery can all be forged into a single piece of metal. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary half-dollar, just another coin struck by the Denver Mint. But beneath its copper-nickel surface lies a story that captures the imagination of collectors and dreamers alike. For within the folds of history, whispers persist that certain 1985 D. Kennedy halves were accidentally struck on silver planchets, creating coins that defy logic and rarity charts. To hold one of these is to hold a tangible piece of America's past, a fragment of a legend that could change your life overnight. The origins of the Kennedy half-dollar go back to 1964, when the nation mourned the loss of President John F. Kennedy. The coin was not merely a tribute. It was a promise. Americans demanded a symbol that would preserve his vision, courage, and unshakable hope for the future. The U.S. Mint responded swiftly, replacing the Franklin half-dollar with a design that bore Kennedy's proud profile on the obverse and the presidential seal on the reverse. Struck in silver during its first years, the coin immediately became a cherished keepsake, hoarded by millions who saw in it something far greater than currency. They saw the spirit of America. By 1985, the Kennedy half-dollar had already passed through decades of transformation. Silver had been removed from circulation coins in the late 1960s, replaced with a copper-nickel clad composition. Yet collectors and mint historians have long whispered about experimental strikings, leftover silver planchets, and rare minting errors that could have resulted in silver-based 1985 D-coins. These coins, if they exist, would represent one of the greatest accidental treasures in U.S. coinage history, a bridge between two eras, and a stroke of luck that could elevate any collector to fortune. The Denver Mint, marked by its D below Kennedy's neck, was known for its precision and consistency. Yet, even in such a controlled environment, anomalies sometimes occurred. A stray silver planchet from a previous minting year might find its way into press, creating a coin unlike any other. Imagine such a 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar struck in silver. The shine deeper, the ring brighter, and the weight slightly heavier. Such a coin would not just be valuable. It would be mythical, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery capable of rewriting a collector's destiny. The design of the 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar is a work of art in itself. Sculptor Gilroy Roberts captured Kennedy's features with commanding elegance, his confident gaze, the forward tilt of his head, the subtle lines of determination that framed his face. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, features a majestic eagle, wings spread wide, clutching olive branches and arrows, symbolizing peace and power. Even after 2 decades in circulation, the design retained its emotional depth, a tribute not just to a man but to an entire generation's ideals. To understand the 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar, one must also understand the spirit of America in the 1980s. The nation was changing rapidly. Technology was advancing. Prosperity was returning, and people were once again looking to the future with hope. The Kennedy half-dollar served as a quiet reminder of a president who once inspired that same optimism. It was not just a coin, it was a message. Each time it passed from hand to hand, it carried with it the memory of a leader who had said, "We choose to go to the moon," a promise that America kept. While the majority of 1985 D half-dollars are common in copper-nickel, the rumored silver-struck varieties have taken on an almost mythical quality. Collectors and experts have spent decades chasing these elusive coins, testing, weighing, and analyzing every detail in hopes of discovering one. A single verified silver 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar would be worth a small fortune, potentially millions, not merely for its rarity but for its symbolism. It would stand as a beautiful mistake, a moment when history and chance collided to create something extraordinary. Even without silver, pristine examples of the 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar hold remarkable appeal. Coins preserved in mint state condition, with mirror-like surfaces and no signs of circulation, are already coveted by serious collectors. Their value continues to rise with each passing year, as time transforms these once common coins into historical artifacts. The coin's artistry, its connection to a beloved president, and the enduring myth of its silver variation make it a cornerstone of American numismatic storytelling. The allure of the 1985 D coin lies not only in its physical value, but in the hope it inspires. Many collectors recount stories of discovering rare Kennedy halves in old jars, dusty drawers, or family keepsakes. Coins that later turned out to be worth far more than they imagined. These tales remind us that sometimes fortune hides in plain sight. A single overlooked coin can carry within it the power to change a person's life forever. And the 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar, with its whispers of silver and its aura of mystery, is one of those coins. Every coin tells a story, but few speak as loudly as the Kennedy half-dollar. It carries the echoes of a voice that once promised a new frontier, a vision that still resonates across generations. The 1985 D. issue, struck decades after Kennedy's passing, reminds America that leadership, courage, and innovation never truly die. They live on through symbols like this. It's more than a coin. It's a fragment of the nation's soul. So, if you ever find yourself holding a 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar, don't dismiss it as pocket change. Look closely, feel its weight, its texture, its glow, you may be holding a piece of silver-born history, a silent witness to one of America's greatest legacies. It could be the key to wealth beyond imagination, or it could simply be a treasure of remembrance, both equally powerful in their own way. The 1985 D. Kennedy half-dollar stands as a testament to how history and fate can intertwine in unexpected ways. Whether struck in copper or silver, it remains a coin that captures a heart, a shining emblem of American endurance and unity. In its glint, you can see both the past and the future. And for those lucky enough to discover a true silver variant, it may not just change your collection, it may change your life forever. Next up, the 1965 Washington quarter is not just another coin. It's a piece of American history wrapped in mystery, transition, and pure fascination. To most people, it may look like an ordinary quarter, the same design they've held countless times. But to coin collectors and historians, the 1965 quarter marks the dawn of a new era, a turning point where the silver age of U.S. coinage came to an end, or so people thought. For hidden among the millions struck that year, a few were mysteriously minted in silver, creating one of the most elusive and valuable treasures in numismatic history. Those silver 1965 quarters are the stuff of legend, capable of transforming their owners' fortunes overnight. The story of the 1965 Washington quarter begins in a time of economic change. The early 1960s saw the price of silver skyrocket, creating a crisis for the U.S. Mint. For decades, quarters, dimes, and half-dollars were struck from 90% silver, but as silver's value rose, people began hoarding coins for their metal content. The Treasury's vaults drained quickly, and the U.S. faced a coin shortage unlike any in its history. To solve this, the Mint made a bold and historic decision: to remove silver from circulating coins altogether. In 1965, they introduced a new composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. The silver quarter was gone, and the copper-nickel clad quarter was born. Yet, transitions in history are rarely perfect, and that's where the magic of the 1965 Washington quarter truly begins. During the switch from silver to clad, some silver planchets, leftover blanks from 1964 production, accidentally found their way into the presses. The result was a handful of 1,965 quarters struck in pure silver, even though the government had officially ended their production. These were not meant to exist. They were the mistakes of system in flux, the ghosts of a vanishing era, and today they are among the most valuable and mysterious coins ever discovered. To hold a genuine silver 1965 Washington quarter is to hold a contradiction. It defies history, policy, and even probability. Its metallic shine, its weight, and even its sound when dropped are unmistakably different from the millions of copper-nickel counterparts. Only a trained eye or an experienced ear can detect its secret. A genuine silver quarter from that year is a relic that bridges the Silver Age and the modern era, a rare survivor change, a coin that slipped through the cracks of history and found its way into the hands of the lucky few. The design of the Washington quarter itself is iconic. Sculpted by John Flanagan, it features a noble profile of George Washington, modeled after the famous bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon. On the reverse, the majestic bald eagle stands proudly with its wings spread wide, clutching arrows and olive branches, symbols of strength and peace. When this design debuted in 1932, it was intended as a one-year commemorative coin celebrating Washington's 200th birthday. But the American public loved it so much that it became permanent. By 1965, the design had already become an American staple, familiar, trusted, and timeless. However, the 1965 issue stands apart because of its historical timing. This was the first year the Mint stopped using silver in quarters, and collectors immediately noticed a difference. The new clad quarters had a duller tone, a lighter weight, and a slightly different ring when dropped on a hard surface. But no one could have predicted that a few genuine silver coins from that year would one day become million-dollar rarities, hunted by experts and dreamers alike. The mint mark, or rather the absence of one, adds another layer of intrigue. All 1965 quarters were intentionally struck without a mint mark, regardless of where they were made, whether in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. The mint did this deliberately to discourage hoarding during the transition. That means that if you find a 1965 quarter with no mint mark, you can't immediately tell where it came from, and that mystery only fuels the fascination surrounding it. It's like holding a secret in your palm, a whisper from the past refusing to reveal its origin. Collectors know that the silver 1965 quarter is exceedingly rare, but they also know it's possible. A handful have been authenticated over the years, each selling for jaw-dropping prices at auction. These coins, struck accidentally on leftover silver planchets, have been found in everyday collections, pocket change, and old coin jars. Imagine the shock of discovering that what seemed like an ordinary 25-cent piece was actually worth thousands, or even millions, of dollars. That's the dream that keeps collectors searching, their eyes scanning every quarter they come across, hoping lightning might strike. The 1965 Washington quarter also serves as a symbol of change in America's economic and cultural story. It reflects a time when the nation was modernizing, when old traditions gave way to new realities. The shift from silver to copper-nickel wasn't just about cost. It was about practicality, progress, and adaptation. Yet even as the mint moved forward, the accidental silver 1965 quarters reminded the world that history has a way of leaving clues behind, precious little mistakes that connect the past with the present. For many collectors, the silver 1965 quarter represents more than just money. It embodies a thrill of discovery. It's proof that fortune sometimes hides in plain sight, waiting patiently for the right pair of hands to uncover it. It teaches that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes the most ordinary-looking objects carry the deepest secrets. And in this case, the smallest slip of fate could make an ordinary person a millionaire overnight. If you ever come across a 1965 Washington quarter, don't rush to spend it. Look closely, study its color, feel its weight, listen to its sound. Silver has a unique ring, a richer resonance that copper-nickel can't replicate. You might just be holding one of those legendary coins, a rare piece of American history that defied time and policy to reach you. Selling it cheaply would be like trading away a treasure chest for a handful of pebbles. In the end, the 1965 Washington quarter is far more than metal. It's a story of transformation, accident, and destiny. It's a reminder that even in times of change, beauty and rarity can emerge unexpectedly. The few silver quarters that slipped through the mint machinery in 1965 now stand as silent testaments to chance itself, to the idea that sometimes history makes its own rules. And for those who are lucky enough to find one, that single coin can indeed change a life overnight, turning an ordinary moment into an extraordinary fortune. Next up, the 1979 D. Washington quarter stands as one of the most intriguing and talked about coins in the modern era of U.S. coinage. On the surface, it seems like an ordinary 25-cent piece, one you could easily overlook in loose change. But beneath that modest appearance lies a story filled with history, transformation, and the whispers of rarity that captivate collectors around the world. For some, this coin represents a bridge between the end of one era and the rise of another. For others, it's a hidden treasure, a coin that defied the odds and may carry within it the power to turn an ordinary person into a millionaire overnight. To understand why the 1979 D. Washington quarter holds such mystique, one must first journey back through time to the origins of the Washington quarter itself. Born in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States, this coin replaced the standing Liberty quarter and immediately became a symbol of American pride. Sculptor John Flanagan design, Washington's dignified profile on the obverse and the fierce bald eagle on the reverse, captured both leadership and liberty. It was not just a coin. It was a message carved in metal, a daily reminder of the American spirit. Fast forward to 1979, a year of transition and uncertainty in American history. The nation was wrestling with inflation, economic shifts, and changes in how people viewed money itself. Silver coins had long disappeared from circulation following the metal's removal from U.S. coinage in 1965, yet rumor persisted that a few coins, like some 1979 D. Washington quarters, were struck on leftover silver planchets or special metal blanks intended for other commemorative issues. These whispers gave rise to legends that have echoed for decades in numismatic circles. Stories of silver quarters that slipped through the cracks, waiting to be discovered in a drawer, roll of change, or forgotten box. The Denver Mint, identified by the D mint mark just to the right of Washington's ribbon, was a powerhouse of production in 1979. Millions upon millions of quarters poured from its presses. Yet even in such massive numbers, history shows that rare errors and anomalies often occur in the blink of an eye. A mismatched planchet, a double strike, or a leftover silver blank from years gone by. That is where the mystery deepens. Among the countless copper-nickel coins struck that year, a few are rumored to shimmer differently, their luster richer, their tone deeper, the telltale signs of silver. The idea of a 1979 D silver quarter is not just about metal content. It's about what it represents. It symbolizes the intersection between human precision and human error, where the mechanical perfection of the minting process collides with the unpredictable nature of fate. A single silver coin mistakenly struck in 1979 would not only defy official policy, but also challenge everything we think we know about U.S. mint operations. For collectors, such a discovery would be priceless, not simply for its value in dollars, but for its historical importance. It's important to remember that by 1979, silver had become a rare commodity in coinage. The U.S. Mint had transitioned entirely to copper-nickel clad coins for regular circulation. However, leftover silver planchets from proof or commemorative runs could sometimes find their way into presses by mistake. When such accident happened, they created some of the most valuable and sought-after coins in history. For example, the 1965 silver quarters and 1977 silver Kennedy halves are both cases of accidental survival, coins never meant to exist, yet now worth small fortunes. The same possibility fuels the obsession with 1979 D quarters rumored to contain silver. Imagine holding one in your hand, a coin that defies expectation, that gleams with sheen just a little too bright for ordinary clad metal. Its weight feels slightly different. Its ring has a purer, more musical tone. That's how collectors often describe the moment they realize they might be holding something extraordinary. If such a 1979 D silver quarter does exist, its discovery could command staggering prices, potentially reaching into millions depending on authenticity, condition, and provenance. The 1979 Washington quarter also carries emotional weight. It hails from a time when the U.S. was changing rapidly. Technology, culture, and even the way people viewed money were evolving. The quarter itself had become more than a simple coin. It was an icon of trust, commerce, and national identity. It jingled in the pockets of Americans as they bought newspapers, candy bars, and gasoline. Every scratch, every mark on its surface tells a story of its journey through decades of daily life. But for those few coins believed to contain silver, that story takes on mythic proportions. These are the coins that escaped their destiny, surviving unnoticed among millions of ordinary pieces. Finding one would be like discovering buried treasure, except the treasure was never buried. It was hiding in plain sight all along. And that is the allure. The dream that fortune might be resting quietly in the palm of your hand. Even the Mint Mark D carries its own history. It ties the coin to the Denver Mint, a facility known for its precision and high production standards. Over the years, the Denver Mint has produced some of the most fascinating minting errors in U.S. history. Whether it a double die, an off-center strike, or the use of an unintended metal composition, mistakes from Denver have often become legendary among collectors. The idea that a silver 1979 D quarter could have slipped through its presses fits perfectly into that tradition of unexpected miracles. Collectors across generations continue to hunt for this elusive piece, studying weight, color, and sound, hoping to find one of the few silver-struck examples. In a market where rarity defines value, even a single verified specimen could rewrite the story of modern U.S. coinage. It would be a discovery that bridges decades, linking the silver legacy of the past with the copper-nickel reality of the present. In the end, the 1979 D. Washington quarter is more than a coin. It's a symbol of hope, mystery, and possibility. Whether you believe in the existence of the rare silver strike or not, its legend teaches a powerful truth. Sometimes, the most ordinary-looking things hold unimaginable worth. So, before you spend that quarter in your pocket, look closely, because in that small, unassuming piece of metal might rest a fortune. and the power to change your destiny overnight.